All right. Well, we're live here with Per from the band Salva. Got a brand new album out, and I'll see it cover right here. Ghost Story.
There it is.
So, yeah. I know with our mail system in the world, everything is kind of going very slow. So you sent me a digital copy, and I was listening to it. And like I told you, I said, I think this best yet. I mean, each album, it's like you get like, obviously with experience, you get better and better.
Yeah.
This one is just amazing.
Thank you very much.
I mean, very haunting sounding, perfect, with the title.
Yeah.
And I remember the last time we spoke, you said you were just almost with the finishing touches on it before getting it printed. So,
yeah. I think we spoke in February, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and the release date was the 1st of March, so it was just about to be released when we spoke.
And just to refresh me and everybody watching, Ghost Story about, basic,
Yeah, it doesn't have so much to do with ghosts as you might think. It's a story about a guy who's kind of a musical prodigy. He discovers music at an early age, and he discovers a fascination for music, and he also discovers that he has a talent for composing music. But he's not your typical guy who goes out and plays music. He's very shy and he's very introvert. But he gives it a try in his teens and realizes that he won't be able to cut it because he has terrible stage fright. So basically, what happens is the band that he's with, they have a gig, and he totally freezes on stage. So after that experience, he basically withdraws from the public and sits alone in his apartment, just making music for himself, and until something happens, which I'm not going to go into.
Right. Yeah.
But sorry.
It's good that you give this the basic and let the listener figure it out on their own, because it's no fun when you give the ending.
No, exactly. And I mean, it's not. How should I put it? It's like I said last time we spoke. It's a pretty basic, easy, simple story. But it's the first time that I have written like a whole album as one story. Plenty of our earlier albums have been thematic in nature, but this is like one story all the way through. So and I didn't want to make it too complicated, because I wanted to lyrics can be somewhat of a of a pain sometimes. So right. I wanted to make it a bit easy for myself.
Right, and also too is like, when you make something too complicated, people kind of frown away from it. They say, you want to give it just enough complex to it where it's not like, oh, I know, 5 minutes later, I know the end of this story.
Yeah. So that's basically what I set out to do, was to just write a story, pretty much, that hopefully fitted the music.
Yeah, and the same people on this album, on the previous albums, or do you have
same people as the last 3 albums. 3 albums ago, we recruited our bass player Daniel, who replaced Frederick, which was our original bass player. So same people for 3 albums now. So
that's good. Yeah, I think it's always nice if you can have like a stable lineup, because then because if you get someone new, then you almost have to start the process of, you know, them understanding you and you understanding them, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. It's always a period where you have to get to know each other, both musically and socially. I mean, so it's always a bit of a disruption, even though a new player can bring something to the band as well, of course.
oh yeah, yeah,
But
I agree.
it feels good now because it feels like we've been like yeah, like you said, we've been evolving with every album, I think, and me composition wise as well have taken some steps forward, I hope. So
It honestly sounds like it because I
yeah, that's
remember
good.
the first album, maybe it could have been the production of it.
Yeah,
I mean, it had a very raw thing,
yeah,
and each one seems to get a little more polished, but not to the point where it's so glossy. You know, it seemed, you know, how some bands get like that, and it sounds mechanical, where it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
where you can't tell the difference. Is that a real guitar or is it something synthesized? You
yeah.
know,
No, with the production and the sound, I mean, I'm doing most of it myself, and I have been learning as we have gone along. So I mean, hopefully, I've been improving in that area as well.
yeah. Well, you know, it's like I I honestly like. I'm not sure if it was done consciously, but I like how the drum sound. They have that kind of a thick sounding where how some of the newer drums tend to sound too precise. If
Yeah,
that's a, you know, and it
we that was actually a conscious choice because I think it was not our the album previous to this one, but the album before that, the one from 2018 called Off the Deep End. We got some criticism for the sound being too polished actually, and especially the drums were sounding like many modern productions are,
right,
with the drums sounding almost like a drum machine pretty much.
exactly.
So I basically with the 2020 album, I don't even remember what my albums are called anymore. What is it called? Never mind. 2020 album. Um, I tried to muffle up the drums a bit, but this time I think I did so even more. It's called A Thousand Ways to Disappear, the album from 2020, by the way. But anyway, it was a conscious choice to try to make the drums sound a little bit more live and a little bit more as they did in the old days, pretty much. Not I'm not looking for a retro sound per se, but more like, you know, more organic maybe.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean that modern drum sound I think works perfect if you're full metal,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, because you need that kind of a atmosphere to go. But if you're in a progressive rock or even
mm,
progressive metal, I mean, not maybe not so much the progressive metal, but progressive rock bands, you don't need to have that kind of a sound. You need to have something, like you said, a more organic
yeah, yeah,
sounding drum set. I mean, yet modern. Because a lot of the older bands, especially the older progressive rock, uh, lesser known ones, I should say, the drums always seem to be like so far away in the back.
yeah.
And some people like that because they didn't want to listen to the drums,
No,
you
no,
know,
no, no,
but I like listening to the drums, but I don't want the drums like right in front of me.
no, no.
I want to be able to hear the rest of the music,
Yeah.
you know.
And I mean, like you say, with metal music in particular, when you have the double kick going all the time and stuff, then of course you have to have the crisp sound so it doesn't get muffled.
Right.
But yeah, but with progressive rock generally, you can have it a bit more loose and a bit more organic, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it sounds better that way, personally.
Yeah. And I mean,
You know.
even though we have how should I put it, some metal influences in our music. We're not that metal, so I mean, I would
Right.
say it's more hard rock than metal, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. That's the one thing I think when some people hear like the more aggressive guitars, they just tend to think that it has to fall in the metal category, and
Mm,
it's like, but there's been a lot of hard rock bands, and they were considered, it's just
yeah,
I think it's for metal. I think personally, it has to do with image now, especially nowadays.
yeah,
You gotta look like bad thing, but you gotta kind of look like a Viking or something. you know. Doesn't matter where you're from, you gotta have that look, or you gotta look like you're some sort of something out of Lord of the Rings or something.
yeah,
It's like sometimes it's like they pay more attention to their image than their music, and you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Well, for some kinds of metal, at least, they have that whole like visual aspect to it as well.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
some progressive rock bands kind of get themselves a little bit of an image, but not that much. I mean,
no. And I mean, in progressive rock, you have all kinds of different. It's not one set thing. I mean, not everyone looks like Peter Gabriel did in the 70s. I mean,
right,
you have all kinds of stuff. You have the flowery, powery stuff, and you have the more like magician thing, Rick Wakeman with capes and stuff, and
right. I don't think that many bands are doing progressive rock bands are doing that nowadays. I think they figured out that we should concentrate on the music,
yeah,
because a lot of the bands that I've seen, online, they look like everyday people.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just, they just are musicians.
yeah.
And
I think also it depends on what level you are playing. Because I mean, of course, if you're playing in small rock clubs and stuff, then maybe you don't need the big production and the image and stuff. But
right.
if you go to a concert in a big venue and stuff, then you need the visual aspect a bit as well, I think, because then you probably pay top dollar to see something more than just musicians playing. You know, it depends. It depends. It's hard to say. But I mean, I can appreciate if someone goes there an extra mile to put on a show as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, speaking of shows, I mean, this weekend here in the United States, we have that Ross Fest.
Ah, okay.
This is the third day. I don't know how their audience numbers are this year, because coming out of the pandemic,
Mm,
but just judging from all the different pictures and videos I've seen on Facebook, it looks like everybody had a great time. So,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's what a lot of people that wanted to travel or could afford to travel, that I think that's what they needed.
yeah, yeah,
After because some people after 2 years of being cooped up and not being able to see live music,
yeah,
they needed that.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think a lot of people are hungry for some live music and entertainment and stuff now. Because I mean, like you said, people have been cooped up for 2 years, so it's definitely needed and wanted, I think. I mean, I actually went to a small mini festival the other week here in Gothenburg, where I live. Uh, it was it's called Musikens Hus, which is like the house of music,
uh,
and they have we have a progressive rock society here in our town, and they put together a little mini festival with 4 bands playing. So me and my daughter actually went to this. It was great fun.
oh yeah, and then one of the bigger names from Sweden nowadays, the Flower King, doing
Yeah,
doing a couple of shows.
yeah, I
and,
saw that one as well.
and I know another Swedish prog metal, Pain of Salvation. They're doing shows.
They're in the States now,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I think that because they're going to be playing the what is that? Cruise to the Edge, I believe it is. So
Yeah.
And that's another one that seemed to be what people needed, because not only are they going to see concerts, but they're going on basically a little 3-day cruise.
Yeah.
And being able to get out of their, they're being cooped up.
Yeah.
So it's, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to get some people to come up this way, because I found a little rock club that's in my home, well, not my hometown, but my town where I'm living in, Bangor.
Yeah.
And it's a small, it has a little restaurant with it, so it's like it's probably not get a lot of people,
No.
but if a band coordinates going there and then going down 2 hours south is the big city of Maine, Portland, and then of course you get New Hampshire and Vermont.
Yeah, and then you have Boston and stuff down the coast.
I mean, if actually someone did a actual New England tour, they can hit all the big places and maybe some smaller places in between.
Yeah, yeah.
So I put that out to them. I have, on my Facebook, if someone was interested in, I kind of tagged certain people so that I know that are regularly touring,
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I think a lot of the progressive rock bands would, besides the festivals, these small little venues are something good for them, because you get almost a one-on-one feeling with your audience. It's not like, I mean, I think Rostas theater is 1,200 seats. So, I mean, it's I I'm not a musician. I don't play it. So, but I would think honestly, while it's nice to have bigger numbers, but then you're not going to be able to touch every single one.
No, of course,
because you're not going to be able to see, up in the balconies. There's people up there, but you don't know.
No.
And I was watching a video where they were saying that, especially jazz music is best to be listened to in, so you can hear every note and everything. So I mean, I think it'd be almost the same for some of the progressive rock bands that are a little on the complex side, because you're not going to be able to hear a lot of stuff if you're, way up in the balcony. You're not going to hear it the same as the guy that's down on, center stage.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think personally, when I go to concerts as well, I prefer if it's in a rock club or something, or like a smaller venue, because always when you go to these big shows, in football stadiums and stuff, the sound is horrible. I mean, it's and it depends on where you stand and stuff, or if you're seated, then it depends where you are in the stands and stuff. So I mean, and even I mean the even if it's in like a hockey arena or something, it's pretty much always bad as well.
Right. Yeah, because I back in '94, I saw Pink Floyd at there's a place called the Rose Bowl, and which is, they play a lot of the New Year's Day football games and whatnot there.
Yeah, that's in California, right?
Yeah, in Pasadena,
Yeah.
and I went to go see them, and we were up like almost way in the back. I could barely hear, I could barely see the people on stage, with the exception of that big giant, monitor.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine, I don't know how he did it, but he secured uh, some seats up front, and he goes, two of my other friends didn't show up. I got them here. You want to come down? And I said, okay, so I'll be able to see and hear a little better.
Yeah.
But it kind of ruined the experience, of actually seeing the band. You
Yeah.
know, that's what I liked. I mean, like on the festivals that I've been to,
Yeah.
the West Coast and the East Coast, you feel a little bit more like you're there, and they understand, the band sees everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking that. There's some people that love going to seeing that, because you know, it's not just the music they're going to, it's just the whole experience.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So since we kind of coming out of this pandemic,
Yeah.
are you in the band actually meeting up together and you
Well, not that much. We have never been. We have always done things remotely, as well as getting together. It's a mixture of everything, pretty much. Because we're most of us have home studios and stuff, so we send files to each other and stuff, and we get together one now and again. So now we haven't been together since. The album came out 1.5 months ago, so we haven't seen each other for a couple of months, I would say. But we'll get together soon. I think we'll see. Well, we have met up because we have done some promo videos. So for that, but then I have gone around to the others, like filming and stuff, and so I'm actually working on a new video right now.
Oh, cool.
Which is pretty.
That's what I noticed, and I may have gotten information wrong, but in Sweden,
Yeah,
they actually encourage you to do music.
Yeah. We have in school we have it's kind of like, apart from the regular music lessons, we also have, at least in my time, I don't know really how it is now, but I think it's basically the same. But we, for some weird reason, everyone in year 4 in school had to play the recorder, which is a weird instrument to start with, but I guess it's pretty easy maybe. And then after that year, you can choose to play another instrument of your choice. And you can apply to get a spot for playing guitar or playing drums or playing trumpet or trombone or whatever.
See, that's where in the United States we stopped. We did. I don't remember what. No, you could say year, but for us it's grade.
Yeah.
I think it was in 3rd grade. So we had to do the recorder, and
yeah.
I also, at that time, I had an amazing teacher. I mean, this guy, reddest hair you can have, and almost like an afro, but he was just nice and so much into music, especially folk music, and it caught my ear, because I thought, okay, this is very down to earth kind of music, and nothing complex. It's just storytelling through music.
Yeah.
Well, I said, okay, I want to learn. So my mom, we signed up for lessons.
Yeah.
Didn't have a guitar, so borrowed her friend's guitar, who plays the guitar in the church choir. Okay, you do. I think I learned later on, you don't learn folk songs on a 12.
No.
It was the most difficult thing, and I got so discouraged I just stopped. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
in third grade, so it's like I probably if I had the right instrument,
yeah.
things could have been different.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. No, but
But
with me,
but I'm but
sorry.
it's amazing that you guys it's encouraged,
Yeah,
whether it's
yeah,
by the government or by family or the community, it's
yeah.
encouraged.
No, it's basically in the schools where we get a chance to try different instruments and stuff, and you can basically play your instruments on school time from, well, I guess it's fifth grade on up until ninth grade. So I mean, it's pretty good. I never did though, which is kind of strange. I did the recorder thing, but I thought the recorder was so boring, so I
Yeah.
never went on from that. But when I think it was in fifth grade or something, my brother and I, we for Christmas we wanted a guitar, like an acoustic guitar.
Right.
So our parents bought us an acoustic guitar, and I think the guitar laid around for 6 months or something. No one touched it.
Right.
I could play "Smoke on the Water" on one string, of course. And then all of a sudden I was like, because I was very into music, listening to music, and I mean I had all these rock magazines, and I picked everything, and I had my records and stuff. And one day I just decided, okay, I'm going to learn how to play the guitar. And my dad had an old chord book, so I basically learned from that. And then I have taught myself all the way. So I never took any lessons. So, but that worked for me. The only downside is maybe that I don't read music.
Well, that's kind of difficult on itself,
Yeah.
to and read
Well, for
and write.
me it is. Sorry.
Yeah, if you're like reading and writing it, like, I mean, that takes an extra special talent for that.
Yeah. I think the best thing, of course, is if you can both read music and write music and then also play by ear. That would be the best. But I think it's better to play by ear than just reading notes,
Right.
because there are some people that they need to have their note sheet, otherwise they can't play. And
Right.
that would be totally crippling, I think. But I mean, playing only by ear, which is my way of doing it, then you can always play something. If someone sticks you a guitar or a piano or whatever, and they say play something, then I can play something. I don't have
Right.
to have my sheet music with me.
Exactly. Yeah, I think in a way it's better to have, when you're playing with feeling,
Yeah.
you know. I was watching this really interesting little video on YouTube earlier where this guy was trying to figure out who can play Neil Peart's part. And
Uh-huh. Okay.
he came to the conclusion that people that try to play his part are only basing it on the technical
Mm,
side and the music side. And instead of just hearing it and then playing with it, you
yeah.
know. And I think, if anything, I think that's where the true talent lies. If you could just hear guys playing, Tom Sawyer, and
Yeah.
you can get right into it because you've heard it so many times that it's,
Mm,
implanted in your brain. So it's
yeah.
so it's also like with your music, you can maybe sit for a while without playing that a certain song, but then you get band practice, start playing, and it just comes back to you. So
Yeah. 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 And I mean,
it's
it's everyone has their personal feel when they play stuff. So I mean, it's hard to emulate someone else's style and feel. I mean, you can of course learn the notes, or for with Neil Peart, if you you can learn the hits, but it's hard to get the same feel, I guess. I don't know. I'm
right.
not a drummer, but
Well, the guy was basically saying is that he played to the music that was given to him, And then later on, people are trying to figure out the time signature. And,
Yeah.
he seems to think that Neil wasn't thinking on that level. He was just thinking about my bandmates have a song they're playing. I'm going to add in my instrument, and I think without going into like technical, what time signature should I put here,
No. Yeah.
I think the best songs are done naturally.
Yeah. It's about feeling the music, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any plans for touring or playing little shows here and there?
No, we don't actually. The thing is that we had some plans some years ago to do some live stuff, and we were talking to the record company. Our record company is in the UK, and we were talking to them about coming over to the UK to do some festivals and stuff. But we have always been having trouble because we're not young anymore. we're over 40, so everyone has their family and stuff around, and of course we can't live on our music, so we have our day jobs as well.
Right.
So we haven't actually been able, and we haven't, to be perfectly honest, we haven't dared to take the step and go out on the road. So there is nothing planned touring wise, and nothing planned for any live shows. Actually, we're basically a studio project at this point.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm constantly working on music in my studio, and the other guys are working on in their studios. But I'm the one keeping most busy, I think. The others have a lot of other stuff to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think again that's another thing. You got bands, or if they want to call themselves bands or projects in the studio, and to create, music that way. And then there's bands that like to do that plus touring, and then there's bands that just seems to be like they're touring endlessly and not not creating any new music, and it's like just sticking to their hits, that they made in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And it's
no,
like,
we basically did our fair share of live shows and stuff when we were in our 20s. We had then we did like the cover band circuit. We didn't play this kind of music, but we were out in the clubs and pubs and playing the things that people want to hear when they're drinking beer. So but we have played live plenty, but with Salva we haven't taken the step. We have because it takes so much, both financially and time wise, that it's not doable unless you put your whole life on hold, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. So we're concentrating on doing better music all the time. Hopefully.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, at least with the videos that you're talking about, that are going to be probably coming out soon, or at least that way you kind of get to get some sort of vibe off you that way, instead of just having your CD. You have some visuals going on.
Exactly. Yeah. We get to present ourselves a little bit visually as well.
Yeah.
With the videos, and like for the we've basically done videos for all our albums since 2011, so there are plenty of videos available on YouTube and stuff for people who are interested.
Yeah, I'll put the link down there when I put this up on YouTube.
Yeah, cool.
Them out. And the other thing, like I think I mentioned to you the last time we spoke, that with live streaming, that's something, because there's, especially during the early days of the lockdown, a lot of bands were doing the little little videos of them in the studio, and everybody did their parts, and then someone, the sound engineer puts it all together and put it on video and then upload it, to YouTube. You can there's stuff like that to do. And also if you wanted to get to, even doing it in some studio where the band's all there, and then you live stream it out, to the entire world.
Yeah.
There's so many different things now. I mean, and I'm sure in the coming years and decades, we're going to have even better technology where, people that are, they're unable to get to a concert, they can watch it on, in the comfort of their own home.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you got to give a lot of options, especially progressive rock bands that, unlike the bigger rock bands, they don't go to every single town in every single country.
No.
So, doing a live stream of a concert would remedy all that, because then, they know, okay, the concert's going to happen at 3 p.m. Eastern time here in the United States. So it gets broadcasted out, so everybody in the world knows that it's at that time, and then they just adjust where they're at. I mean, like with you, it'll be 9 o'clock. In England, I think it would be 8 o'clock.
Yeah, they're 1 hour behind us, behind us.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it just, and then also, if you make the concert available on a, we could watch it again, for certain, because I think there was one band that did that, the Pineapple Thief. They did it, a live stream of their concert, and then I think for 48 hours after that, you could, for the cost of the admission, go back and watch it as many times as you want.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, we have the technology that, I don't know cost wise, but, I'm sure as the years go on, the cost will come down to the point where everybody has, there's so many of the progressive rock musicians have their own studios. Like yourself and others, that, I mean, that's now. I mean, 20 years ago, it wouldn't have been as many. I mean,
no. You have totally other options and alternatives today. And I mean, the costs, at least for like live broadcasts on the internet and stuff, I think it more comes down to the costs of how good you want to do it, like with cameras and stuff and film crews and But I think if you do it like low budget, then I think it's not going to cost you much at all. No. I think it's going to be pretty cheap actually.
Oh yeah, and even better if you know people.
Yeah, of course. That's always good.
Oh yeah, because then you trade favors. It's like, okay, you film me. Maybe down the line, I'll make some music for your video. Whether it's a commercial or something. It's like it's just the music community and the video. I think they're really ones that actually believe in the word community. They help each other out. I mean, there's a lot of like in the progressive rock bands that they have people from other bands guesting on their albums.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, they're not being paid. It's just favors going back and forth.
Yeah.
You help me on, I need you. I like to have your guitar sound on my album, and I'll add my keyboard sound on your album another time, whenever you need it. So,
and I mean, let's face it, there is not much money in prog rock. So I mean, it's even for the big bands, there is not that much. I mean, no one is getting rich out of this.
No, I think a lot of them are, they know that and they're doing, I think, out of the pure love of the music.
Yeah, yeah.
And and then also too, that also keeps music pure sounding,
Mm.
because then all of a sudden we're not selling out.
No, you don't have the commercial aspect of that creeps into the music as well. If it gets to that point that there is too much money involved, then of course you're gonna try to write hits and stuff, and the music might suffer for it.
Put up your album cover so people can look at
Yeah.
it again. It's out now, so anybody that uh, wants to get it, I mean, this is a really good sounding album. I mean, I've listened to it a few times, and it's like it's perfect. When you just listen on headphones.
Mm.
Because then you can get all the nuances of the music directly to you. It's not. That's really, for me personally, that's one thing I never liked about listening to music loud on a either a car stereo or in a home stereo
Mm.
coming out of the speakers, because from the moment that leaves the speaker, a little bit of it's kind of dissipating, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, but by listening to it on the headphones, it's only going one place, my ears.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And
Headphones is the best way to listen to music, of course.
and I mean, it's nice if you got a good sounding song. If you want to play it loud,
Mm.
over your speakers, that's something good too. But
Yeah.
just, it's like, so it's your album. It's like I said earlier, it's like each of your albums are progressively getting better and better, and it's you know I mean, I remember listening to the first album. I mean, uh, the songs were great. It had kind of a rough, raw production to it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
I was
I
I
mean,
was a,
each,
I was a happy beginner.
not that many people can do that. I mean,
No.
it's from the first start. I mean, it may be their first album, but they've got, I don't know, sometimes over perfecting things to where it
Mm.
sounds. I mean, I do like when it has a very organic sound,
Yeah.
and your new album has it. It's really
Thank you very
good.
much.
So
Nice to hear.
anybody, I mean, you have a Bandcamp page,
No,
or you go directly to your.
we are on all streaming sites and stuff, but we don't have a Bandcamp page. No.
Okay, so if they wanted to purchase the CD, they would just purchase it directly from you guys on your.
It's sold on loads of places on the internet, of course, and I mean they can buy it from our webpage or from White Knight Records in the UK, or it's I actually saw that it's sold on Walmart's homepage.
Really?
Yeah. So
I
we're in Walmart, but I don't think you can find it in the store though.
Probably not. I mean,
No.
their music and movie section have, at least in my town, have just dwindled into almost nothingness. I mean,
Yeah.
they
I
might.
don't think you would have found it there even if they had their old music department left still.
Right, yeah. I mean, I was surprised a few years back that I found. I had already owned it, but I found a couple transatlantic album in a local shop here. And I was
Mm-hmm.
very surprised because I
Yeah.
didn't think that they would even have anything like that.
Well,
And it wasn't like they were used; they were brand new stuff. So it's like someone who does their buying, you know, knows a
Yeah.
little thing about prog, so they get some things in.
Yeah.
And they also do mail orders, so it's like even if it doesn't sell in their store, it'll sell on.
Yeah.
But it's good to have different places. I mean, I'm sure. I don't know about. I'd have to check the couple of places here. Like Laser's Edge and
Mm.
Symphonic. Those seem to be for the only ones left. Besides, I think they have Wayside, but they tend to cater to the more complex.
I think our CDs are on Laser's Edge. I think they are available through Laser's Edge, but I'm not totally sure. But I know that some of the past ones have been there on their page, but I don't know if because I mean when we signed with the White Knight, we kind of let go of the distribution and everything. So I'm basically finding out by searching the internet where you can find the CD. So, but of course we get our batch as well, which we sell via the web page, the Salva web page. So
I got to ask you, okay, the meaning behind your band name,
yeah,
or the origin, like everybody likes the origin story.
yeah. It's it's a long story. I mean, we had a band in the 90s, which we played heavy metal covers, and we had some gigs around, and we wanted a name, and it's always difficult to get a name. And there was a Swedish band, an indie band called Kent, and they had a hit song called Crème, which means cream. And it was like, it doesn't mean, well, it means something, of course, in the lyrics, but we just thought, oh, we need a short, catchy name like that, like something. And then our bass player then came up, well, why don't we call ourselves Salva? And I was like, okay, weird name, but still, yeah, that can work. And then, of course, I mean, it's easy to say. It's a word in Latin as well, and it's a word in Spanish as well. So it's kind of international already, and I mean it has to do with salvation and absolution and stuff in both Latin and Spanish. So it kind of stuck. And when I started this thing, I needed a name, and I just thought, let's go with that. So that's basically it.
Oh, that's cool. I've been wondering. I was like, going, okay, I'm gonna ask him today. I was
Yeah.
just, because there's some band names that people just, point to a name in a book, and that's it. And others carefully craft the meaning.
Yeah.
And so that's cool.
Yeah, we've had a lot of different names through the years, but Salva stuck for some reason, and it's not because it's particularly a good name, but it kind of stuck.
Well, it like you said, it's easy to say, and I think basically almost everyone in the world can possibly say it, with probably some exceptions, but at least like you said, it's short. There's like 2 syllables.
Yeah, it's not too hard to pronounce, and I mean even if you pronounce it wrong, then it doesn't matter because it's pretty easy. So I mean,
as long as you buy the music, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. that's the important part.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, how many albums do you have out so far?
This is the 7th one, so 7 albums so far.
And they're still all available on CD.
Yeah.
For some people like myself like to have the physical media. Others don't mind downloads and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, they are still available on CD, all of them, from our webpage as well as other places. I think White Knight has them all also. Maybe not the 2 first ones, but Will, the one of the guys from the record company, he has a web shop as well. and they're available there. And if they're not, then he gets them from me. So because
Okay.
the first two ones I put out on our own label, so I have the masters for those.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I gotta say thank you again, for taking the time out. I know it's a little late over there in Sweden and for a
It's fine.
Sunday.
I'm a night owl, so it's
Oh,
fine.
yeah, I know a few night owls. And I'm open that our mail system is going to be nice, since you said you sent me the CD over a week ago. So, I'm just hoping, it's I think it's really ridiculous that things take so long in the modern age where,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be a little bit on the faster side.
Yeah. Oh, but let me know if it doesn't come, and I will send you another copy. That's no problem.
Oh no. Yeah, I'll just wait for that. In the meantime, I have the download you sent me so I can listen to it there.
I don't know how important lyrics are to you, but if you want, I can send over the lyrics as well if you want.
Okay. Yeah. I like to, kind of need to be able to read along,
Mm.
kind of figure it out for myself that way.
Yeah.
That I think to me, when you can figure it out, I think the album has better meaning to you.
Mm.
Over if someone, if you told me exactly the meaning, I'd be okay, well, I know what's going to happen here, there, I like it to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Because then when I figure it out, it's like, okay, I did it on my own. No one told me the story. I figured it out, and
yeah, and I mean, like, maybe not so much with this record since it's basically a story, but with the other records, and with other stuff as well. I mean, it's always nice when lyrics can mean different things to different people when they're a little bit obscure, so that you don't necessarily straight away get what they're about, but you can kind of figure it out for yourself, and maybe it's right and maybe it's wrong, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's nice when the musician kind of puts out a concept with real no actual meaning. They want the fans to enjoy it, and how they feel. And I mean, there's, I don't know, different types of music out there that people argue over what the meaning, it's like my way. This is the way it's supposed to mean, and if anyone else comes to a different conclusion, they're wrong.
Mm.
And it's like, I think it's all personal.
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah. Mm.
And just like with Goat Story, it falls under that, where it's a personal thing for everybody to get what they mean, what the storytelling.
Mm.
And that's I think that's one thing that progressive rock over other genres has retained. The musicians sometimes want to tell a story, whereas rock bands, they talk about their cars and girls and things blowing up, shit like that. But with progressive rock, they want to tell a story, whether it's a personal story or if it's a story they heard on the news, or from an old book. It's like it's nice to have storytelling.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if it's not like the whole album being a story like Ghost Story, I mean, if each individual songs have their own little stories to it, that's also, fun,
absolutely,
for the listener.
And it's always nice with the mix. I mean, a band putting out only concept albums might be a bit. I mean, sometimes you like to mix it up a bit. So it's
Yeah,
good if you can do different stuff.
I agree. I agree. It's like, and I really like when bands mix it up. And
Mm,
maybe their fans don't like it at first, but then it grows on them. They understand that it's like, no, we're not gonna, let's for instance, your band, got 7
yeah,
albums. Each one sounds different than the previous one.
yeah,
I mean, but you still retain what makes Salva in
yeah,
each
yeah.
one.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
then there's ones that they put out an album, and then 2 albums down the line, all these albums sound the same,
Yeah,
and it's almost, dare I say, insulting to the
yeah,
listener. It's like, what are you doing? You're putting out the same album again with different lyrics.
yeah,
You know, that's what pop music does.
yeah.
Not, so it's like, it's nice when bands change it up, even if the fans don't take to it immediately, then
No,
later on they kind of like, I mean, one one instant that I can think of right off the bat is when Pain of Salvation did that album Starsick.
mm,
Everywhere on these message boards, and anyone that was talking about Pain of Salvation was up in arms about this. How dare they change directions and everything? And I'm like going, at first, okay, I kind of agreed a little bit with that, and
yeah,
over the years, I understood that. I don't know his reasons, but
no,
it would appear to me that the reason was is just basically to kind of shake everybody up,
yeah.
and here's something you didn't expect from us.
And I mean, they have continued to do that because I mean,
Oh yes,
then came the Road Salt albums, which was they were even more maligned from the fans. I mean, because all of a sudden they sounded like a 70s classic rock blues band kind of.
right,
Uh,
right,
and then they came back with the Passing Light of Day, which was more maybe back to the roots, but it was even almost even heavier than the early stuff.
right.
And now latest with Panther, that was also a totally different thing with all the electronic elements and stuff. So I mean, but as far as I can
Oh
tell
yeah,
from the little I know of Daniel, I think that he's totally like he wants basically to change all the time. It feels like, and he doesn't want to go
right.
down the same road which he has already gone down, which I think is
Yeah,
it's a good thing. But of course, not everyone is going to like everything you put out. At the
right.
same time, I would rather have that than, like you said, someone who puts out the same album 10 times in a row. Like I mean, that's the ACDC syndrome.
Right. Yeah, that that's the one thing. And even though it's one of my favorite bands, some of Motorhead did
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
you know, but but with that kind of a style, the ACDC and even the Motorhead style, there's only so much you can do.
yeah, yeah.
So you're going to, tread similar roads, in your career, but that's
I
what
heard. Sorry.
was it? Oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. I was just going to say I heard a joke once. I think I don't know if I remember it correctly, but it was someone saying to either Angus Young or Malcolm Young in ACDC, "Oh, you play the same 4 chords all the time." And if it was Angus, he said like, "No, no, 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 no. We play 3 chords.
You
Four
know,
chords are too many."
I like a lot of their songs,
Yeah, yeah.
and
They're
it's like they do good with their style. That's
absolutely.
I mean,
They're they're totally champions of what they do.
and
But of course,
but
if you want some kind of evolution in the music field, then you might not go to ACDC, maybe.
no, no, because pretty much every album with probably some slight variations in, in the late 80s and 90s, when technology really kicked in, I mean, there's a lot of those bands, the 70s and 80s bands, when they got into the late 80s, they, took on, what is it, the guitar synth and
Mm,
more drum machines. And
yeah,
I mean, some stuff sound cool, years later, and other stuff, you can hear how dated they.
yeah, absolutely.
And
I mean,
that's why I don't think, honestly, you should look into what the current trends are,
yeah,
because if you don't do it right, it's going to sound dated decades later.
yeah,
And I mean, if you're doing it because everybody else in the genre is doing it, that's
mm,
probably not a good reason.
no. It's never good to try and emulate something that has already been, of course, but it's getting hard not to repeat stuff as well, because I mean,
That's true.
a lot of the music has been written already, so but it's hard to come up with new stuff, but at the same time you have to try at least.
Oh yeah, and also too, it's like, okay, like you said, everything has been done so far. Then I think the next best thing is take it from a different angle.
Yeah.
I mean, for the longest time, you had a lot of rock songs that started off with drum beats,
Mm,
big powerful drums, and then after a while that gets kind of boring.
yeah.
So got to mix it up and change the formula around. And that's what I think with you and the other progressive rock musicians, you have that capability to do that. And a majority of you guys out there, fulfill that capability,
Mm,
changing things up, because, pretty much, like you said, everything has been done.
mm,
But it's just, we just got to progress to the next level, and try new things, but I think try new things without compromising what you sound like.
yeah, yeah.
Because if all of a sudden the next album you do is full on techno, then people
Mhm.
are going to say, "Well, what's this guy all about?"
Yeah. No, you have to have your own sound, of course, but at the same time try to incorporate some new stuff into your existing stuff as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of neat when when you can add in certain modern electronic sounds into it, kind of to break up the same old sound with the guitar, bass, drums, keyboards. You got the keyboardists that can actually add in some little electronica sounds and things like that, or more mood.
Yeah.
Things like something where you get something exciting sounding that out of it.
Yeah. And I mean that's always what we have tried, because I mean a lot of the progressive stuff you have like the prog purists that only want the mellotron and the Hammond organ and the minimoog, and that's basically it.
Right.
But we have always tried to mix it up. I mean, we use those as well, but we try to mix them up with some more modern sounds as well, so that you get like a mix of everything, which I find interesting,
Oh yeah.
and hopefully others do as well. But
Yeah, but right there, the mellotron, if take it outside of the resurrect, community, it does
mm,
have such an interesting sound that they can do things on it that you may not be able to reproduce,
no,
on a synthesizer properly, because I do know you got some synthesizers that have, the Mellotron programs.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. As an instrument, the mellotron has a sound of its own. I mean, it's hard to replicate on another instrument. But I mean, nowadays when you have the software synthesizers and stuff that can do this, and basically have samples from the master tapes from the mellotron factory, then of course you can sound like a mellotron without actually owning one. But it's a special instrument. It's a special sound for
Oh
sure.
yeah, oh yeah, and uh, when I went to a couple of the progressive rock festivals in Los Angeles, there
Mm,
was one guy that he would tell all the bands, don't bring your Mellotron from home. I have one here. You know,
yeah.
come a little early and tinker with it and make sure it's to your liking.
Mm.
Because I don't think there's that many of them out there in the world anymore.
I don't think so either. I don't know, but no, I don't think that I don't know how many they manufactured actually. But of course, many of them must have broken down by this stage.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a pretty good side job for someone to learn how to fix any of them that are
Mm,
broken down, that are not destroyed.
yeah. Yeah.
But in comparison to modern keyboards, guitars, bass, drums, I don't think there's as many Mellotrons out there.
Mm,
So I'm sure whoever owns one is keeping it in top condition and
yeah. Yeah.
basically treating it like gold.
Mm, yeah. Because they're not cheap these days.
Uh, I don't know how much they are, but you can get about 10 guitars and still have to pay some more.
Probably. Yeah. All those old instruments. I mean, if you want a Minimoog today, it's super expensive. If you want an original one from the 70s, I mean, you can buy the new edition. What it's called, I don't remember, but the original ones, they're really really expensive.
Right, right. Well, I want to thank you very much for taking your time out, to talk about your new album and all the other subjects we talked about.
Yeah.
I like to keep. How did they say? I like to keep it loose and easy, where you can just talk about whatever you want.
Yeah.
And again, like I said before, it's like got to check out Salva's new album, Ghost Story. It's I'll post it right back up again. See right here, right on that side or that side of the screen.
One of
um,
the sides.
and get it from his site. I would say if you're in Europe, get it
Yeah.
from his site. England from White Knight Records, and I'm sure someone in the United States has it selling it, whether it's on Amazon or
Yeah. It's on
eBay.
get it on Walmart.
Yeah, there you go. Walmart. That's
Yeah, no, it's sold in the States in various on various sites. I don't know exactly which ones, but I know Amazon has it. Like I said, Walmart has it on their webpage. So I mean, I think it's pretty easy to come by if you go the internet route.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's so easy nowadays to find things online that
Yeah,
you barely break a sweat, doing
no,
it.
exactly. No,
Uh,
thank you so much, Ron. I mean, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
oh, you too, and I look forward to what comes next with Sal.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Well,
and
now it's the video that is coming out. I think early May, maybe. We'll
oh,
see
okay,
how fast I work, but I'm in the middle of it right now.
okay, yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, And in the meantime, there are old videos you can check. Well, there is one from the new album already out. It came out just a week before the album came out. So for the song Discovery, there is a video available on YouTube. So
okay,
yeah,
go check that out and get his album and the other albums. You know, really good music. I mean,
thank you very much.
all right. Well, I'll talk with you soon.
Yeah, take care.
All right, you too.
Well, thank you.